If I hit the right button. All right, fantastic. Well, Greg, we're back again for another immigration legal tech conversation brought to you by Visa Law AI, immigration intelligence you can trust. How are you doing today?
I am good. I have been in a meeting all day, so I'm happy to get out of my meeting for an hour so that I can talk about actually fun things.
Yeah, talk about some interesting stuff. There's been since the last time we talked. Obviously, we talked to Ruby Powers in our last sort of segment. And that was a really awesome conversation with her. And we've had a lot of interesting things happening this week. We've got some really interesting news and some product updates to talk about as well. But just to set the stage again, we do this every time. But during immigration legal tech conversations, we're going to explore the evolving landscape of legal technology. We're going to dissect the innovative applications of that technology. And today is going to be interesting because we're going to be focusing on an urgent and human relevant area of immigration practice, which is detention and habeas litigation, and how we can use AI responsibly to support lawyers who are doing this work. And you've prepared some really awesome prompts that we're going to look at on Prompt.law. And we're going to check that out and discuss those things as well. And those prompts are designed for these cases. They're designed for intake, eligibility assessment. We'll go through I think you have 11, 12 maybe prompts. We'd have to take a look and probably count.
I don't remember how many there are.
But there's a great number of them, and they're completely free on Prompt.law. We're putting them out there because it is such an important time for us to be helping to speed up this process, to make it faster, to keep immigration lawyers agile and quick on their feet. So let's go ahead and dive into it. I'm glad to have some people tuning in, some people that are excited to hear about this as well. So let's go ahead and look at. We'll pull up Prompt.law. But as we get started, I do want to mention a couple things. And so, we can sort of fill these in as we go. But how was the Super Bowl? Have you gotten to watch any Olympics? Have you gotten any time for yourself to do those?
So I was kind of hate watching the Super Bowl because I actually I'm a big Titans fan.
You and me both.
Yeah, what were they? 3 wins for the year? 4? I can't remember. They were long, and they were very few. And I have made it. If you follow me on X, my opinions about the owner of the Titans, and so I was watching it. I was rooting for the Patriots for the sole reason that Mike Vrabel, who I loved as the Titans coach, and I was just so furious when he got fired by the owner after having, the season before, one of the best, I think the best record in the entire NFL on there, that I was just rooting for him to win the Super Bowl just so the owner of the Titans would feel bad. That was the only, and he didn't do it. But on the other hand, it's I think in my tweet or X post or whatever you're going to call it, it was I congratulated the owner of the Titans on reaching the 66th year of the franchise that she and her dad have owned the team without a championship, which is quite the accomplishment. It's hard to go 66 years for a team without actually ever winning a championship. There's not that many that can claim that.
Yeah, remarkably, they've done it. And so you were hate watching and hoping that Mike Vrabel would win the Super Bowl. I was hate watching and hoping that Mike Vrabel wouldn't win the Super Bowl for basically the exact same reasons, because I didn't want to have that FOMO. But the Super Bowl was certainly an interesting. I think legal AI was actually, AI in general was at the forefront. If you watch the commercials.
Oh my God, AI was in half the commercials. Some of the commercials also had AI in them, which was incorporated in. There was one with Jurassic Park. I forget. I don't even remember what they were advertising in there, but they got the actors and de-aged them. And if that's, which I've seen that tech before. It was used in I think I forget the name of the movie that Robert De Niro was in a couple of years ago on Netflix, but they did that. My favorite use of that tech was in The Mandalorian, where they got Mark Hamill in the last scene, I think, of the first season, where they made him look like Luke Skywalker in his 20s. And it was like, how did they do that? And then that's when I learned about how they use that tech. But basically, it was current Mark Hamill as the actor, and then they used the AI to make him look like he did in the 70s on there. It's pretty amazing. And they use that at least in 2 commercials.
Mm-hmm.
There was one that was supposed to be like a 70s sitcom, and it had Jason Alexander and Ted Danson and some others in there. And then they had that Jurassic Park one, same tech that was in there. And plus, and they had the actual AI commercials for Anthropic. And I think OpenAI might have had one in there too at some point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, OpenAI had one. Claude had several. Anthropic, Claude.
Well, Claude kind of grabbed on to something I think that was smart, which is that ChatGPT, I think, has said that they're going to start, and I think Gemini might be doing the same. I'm not sure. Might start incorporating advertising into the answers that you're going to be getting in ChatGPT, the free version of ChatGPT, which I get. I mean, if like you're getting something for free, then somebody's got to actually pay for it. But it's not a charity. But on the other hand, Claude at some point, I mean, it's good to make that distinction. Although I was thinking, it's like, you're going to look really bad, Claude, when you have to make the same decision at some point, because while you're growing your market share, I just, at some point, these companies have to actually start making money.
Yes, and the spending is through the roof. Yeah, and obviously, I think this sort of ties into one of the big announcements that was happened last week with Anthropic. They announced a Claude legal plugin, and I know you and I have discussed this really just briefly, sort of over email, but that's a really interesting development, and one that I think everybody should keep an eye on. But I think the decision between you and I know we haven't tested it, to be clear, although it's something that we probably should check out at some point. Based on what we see and what I understand, Greg, there are some limitations to it, but fundamentally, it's basically the plugin is allowing to apply a legal workflow to the same sort of prompts and sort of the same logic. There's not really any changes necessarily to what's happening. It's basically just a plugin. It was posted on GitHub that can be downloaded and used to review contracts, create simple sort of legal documentation that way. But do you see this as a big advancement, a big step, or is it something that people need to be aware of?
I think they need to be aware of it, but honestly, I think there was too much made of it at the beginning, and I think that some of the stock market reaction to it was a little bit of an overreaction. At the end of the day, if you want really high quality AI outputs, a lot of it is going to depend on the data sets that it has available to it. Thomson Reuters, Lexis, Visa Law, or VLEX, the companies that are, for example, doing research, legal research, they have a lot of content that is just never going to be in the public LLMs. And the public LLMs, I mean, they can do things to make them more suitable for legal, but at the end of the day, it's going to be what those products plug into. So I think that, essentially, and they do that already on there. I mean, Co-Counsel and our product basically have our, we have our data sets, and we have built around the language model we built around is GPT 5.1 in our case, and I'm not sure what Co-Counsel and Lexis and the others are using. Claude has not, had nearly as much of a penetration into the market that OpenAI has had for that. But that's part of it. But also build your own data sets. So law firms will have I think that might be more of like what they're probably aiming for. But it's just going to require a tremendous amount of customization and thoughtfulness from the, to really get the value out of it. but it's good. It's an advancement of the field. I feel like the overall it's helpful, but I'm not particularly thinking it's going to have any dramatic changes for quite a while.
Yeah, and it's certainly something that people should, do their research on and check out and see. Maybe it does, work for certain things that you're doing, and but I've done some work with Claude and Anthropic, and I've been testing out Claude Code recently, and was able to work with that sort of over the weekend. But there are really some interesting applications with some of these models, and Claude has definitely been really active, as you could see with the Super Bowl commercials. Like they're really trying to take a jump of sort of what I've
Yeah.
felt over the last 3 months has been really they're really going at OpenAI to a certain extent as well.
And I'm going to tell you something that you probably don't know about Claude in a way that I used it, but you're about to see. So when I got the idea in my head for Prompt.law, I spent some time kind of mapping out how the site would actually work. And I was able to use Claude's coding capabilities. You can design websites and actually get mock-ups and see how pages would look in Claude. And I did that initially before I went to the development folks who helped me get the site together. But I basically had mock-ups for how I wanted every page to function in Prompt.law before, and I used Claude to basically help me map out how that was going to look. So when you see this website in a minute, the original, visioning for it, I use Claude for.
That's very cool. That's very cool. I didn't know that. Well, I think that is a good segue for us, and we can go ahead and let's check out Prompt.law. I'll bring it back to the stage here, and review these new prompts that you've developed for detention and habeas cases.
Yeah. So for those of you who haven't seen the site before, again, it's completely free, and it's a prompt repository that is available to anybody. If you want to upload your own prompts instead of just browsing through them, you would set up an account. The account itself is basically just your email address, your first and last name is really all the information that you have to provide for it. So there's not a lot to it. But if you go into the site, so I'll start again here. You're seeing pages move, right? Because I'm not okay. You would go into browse prompts. And we were talking about habeas prompts. So let me show you. It just starts filtering out for the ones that after you start typing them. So when I post a prompt in Prompt.law, I also have I'll show you really quickly, sort of like what it looks like when I post in here. So I have a title. I give it a little description. I have the different practice areas. It's mostly immigration stuff in here, if that's what I do, but I've been trying to add some other fields as well. Then I will add tags to make it easier in search to find what I'm looking for. I'll set the temperature. Almost always I set it on the lowest temperature, but if I wanted to do something that was like marketing oriented and all that, I might nudge it up somewhat to make it a little bit more creative. The special instructions are basically for anybody who's going to be using the prompt for things that I might say that I don't want in the prompt itself, but I want to give them some caveats. The prompt itself, I would paste it here. You could put it there. If there's certain documents that you want to have associated with the prompts, and again, I would remind people not to put anything in here that is confidential, but you might want to have, say, a government memo or something like that you want to have associated with that. You could put it there. You would put in whatever jurisdiction that you wanted, and then you could put in whatever language you wanted if the prompt itself doesn't have to be designed in English. So anyway, I'm showing you all that just to kind of show you what when I do upload. So the prompts that I put in here that are habeas related, I'll give you an idea, and then what they cover, and maybe show you a little bit about what these complex prompts look like. So when you browse through it, you'll see a little description of it, and we'll just look at this first one: government opposition pattern analyzer and habeas reply brief. So Here we're talking about basically a prompt where you're going to upload the government's opposition to your habeas case. It's going to look at recurring arguments and assist in drafting a reply. This is another one that's to help somebody that's more senior in an organization reviewing a draft habeas brief that is submitted that another lawyer is giving to them. Some of them are just on assessing eligibility, so we'll go into that one. So this one looks basically at whether the case is even appropriate for a federal habeas petition and identifying the path for relief, and also giving jurisdiction and circuit-specific guidance. So here, I will tell you what, I wanted to spend a little time just kind of like looking at the prompt itself.
Yeah.
And the prompts, are usually for these things, they're multiple pages long. And you may say, well, that seems like it's overkill, but you'll see in a second why that's the case. So I'm going to, initially, when I design a prompt, I'm giving a role to the prompt to help it figure out basically like what when it's giving tone and output and all that. It's helpful if you start at any prompt for any complex task, you're going to want to do that. So in this case, I just said you're a federal immigration habeas litigator assisting a pro bono lawyer. Your role is to analyze the facts, procedural posture, jurisdiction, etc. So anyway, this is the assignment, essentially, this first paragraph. And then I usually want to tell the AI what to expect in terms of both it's going to ask questions or ask for information, and also it's going to tell you're going to tell it what kinds of documents that the user might be providing. So in this case, we're going to want to know what the person's current detention status is, where they're detained, information sort of where they are in their proceedings, what's the basis for the detention, how long have they been detained, what's the bond history, if they have a criminal history as well, give information on that, and then basically beyond that, and this is basically then the instructions are ask these questions one at a time. I like to use that approach. It's sort of where we treat these as clarifying questions, as opposed to the lawyer having to just have everything up front where they post it. I think it's sometimes that's my preference, and so I usually draw it that way, where the AI is going to be asking them one at a time. The uploads that in this case are as well. You don't have to upload all these things, but these are suggested. So I'll list these. Part of this is for not just for the AI, but it's for the lawyer that's going to be using it to have an idea of what kinds of documents will help the AI in terms of being able to give you the highest quality answer. So in this case, these are the things you could upload. I'm sure there are others, but these are sort of like things that would definitely, I think, help in this case to be able to get the answer you want. The next section, these are essentially the guardrails, and this is how I think is helpful in most of the prompts that I have in Prompt.law in terms of getting the AI to behave and doing, and people have heard about hallucinations. If you want this doesn't totally guarantee that it's going to be perfect, but it does do a pretty good job of eliminating that, and it's telling as well, not to get ahead of its skis on certain things. So, for example, if the circuit or district law is unsettled, conflicting, or fact dependent, then the AI needs to tell you that, as opposed to just sort of like making up of acting as if everything is clear as can be. And I have some more of that as well about how to do that, and then. Later on, there will be this thing I put in here, a test run, which basically gives the AI an idea of sort of like how I want formatting done. So this is an example of a hypothetical where you have somebody detained in an ICE facility in Louisiana. They're in removal proceedings, no final order. They're detained for 11 months. Bond hearing was denied 6 months ago. No criminal history. No imminent removal scheduled. And then we have a basically a model memo to them that helps the AI sort of know for the next time, whatever the facts are in the case, that you have that it knows how to do it. So that is this is an example, and I hopefully people can see from this. This is a lot more than usually what they would probably do, which is like help me figure out what the arguments are in this case. But I have I have these habeas. Well, let's go back. Hang on a second. By the way, I have about 250 now prompts that I put in here, so there's quite a few. But if you are a visa law user and you go in here, we're going to be adding them in one at a time. But all you really need to do is click on this copy button, and then you can paste it right into visa law where you want. But I wanted it to be in here as well because if people have have tools that they can use, particularly pro bono lawyers who may not have, they may not have access to our tools, but they want to be able to run these prompts, and they have a secure tool that they can do them in. They can go ahead and just copy them and use them in whatever platform will work. So,
and that's a good reminder, Greg. I do want to touch on that point just for anyone who's looking at this. These prompts that you would use, because you are going to be using or uploading potentially some sensitive information, you do need to make sure that the tools that you're using are going to be secure. This is not something you would want to put, like if you've got a free ChatGPT account, you probably aren't going to be wanting to put that in there.
Yeah. So, it's like you should always be aware of like what the what the limitations are of the platform you're using. But if you have something that's designed for law or something that's designed to ensure confidentiality, you always have to go through your ethical analysis. But if you have it, you can, in theory, you could run those. Basically, you need something that will allow you to upload documents and allow you to choose your prompt, hopefully choose the temperature setting to something low, and you should be able to do it. I mean, we've set up our system for being able to do these things. The other thing I would tell people is sort of if they're looking at these things and you want to test it out, one use that you can make of ChatGPT or other tools that are, is to essentially have it design you a hypothetical and have it, create documents that are hypothetical documents, and then go ahead and test it and see how you like how the outputs look. So that is something that, these prompts, this is for the habeas project. This is part of it. These prompts are really helpful in terms of going through the analysis. The drafting part of it, I haven't put in here. And the reason for that is because the public LLM tools and most of the ones that are out there really don't allow you to do long form drafting very easily in those tools. And so we are working in Visa Law with our drafts platform to have habeas brief writing, and that's something that hopefully will be available soon. But I can tell you it's definitely in the works right now. It's a little complicated because there's habeas cases come in a variety of flavors, and we're trying to sort of design it so it's basically you can get an output that's really customized a lot more for the type of habeas case that you're filing. But we are, that's something that we know is needed, and we're working on it. Just like with the national interest exceptions, which I know that you posted on, Ian, in the last couple of days as well. That there were at least 2 different flavors for those, and we had to build out for both of that. For habeas, there's more. The different issues for kids, there's different issues for different kinds of cases, and so that's something that's in the works.
Absolutely, yeah, and I'm glad that you mentioned the NIEs. It's worth mentioning here as well. Visa Law is very much in the same sort of lane with what we're doing with the habeas prompts here, where we're putting these out for free. We've got a deal going on right now with Visa Law where all of the NIE drafting, because this is sort of additional work that is potentially being put on everybody's plate. All NIE drafts, if you're a pro plan subscriber, are going to be completely unlimited, completely free to use. So if you're interested, if you're a Visa Law user and you're thinking that you're going to be doing a lot more NIEs this year, they're going to be completely unlimited on the pro plan. So just something to remember.
The tricky part with the NIEs is, like, so far the reports are that nobody's actually gotten one approved or denied.
Right.
At some point, we're going to start seeing mandamus cases filed, and that's another process that we're working on right now in drafts to have assistance with lawyers that are going to federal court to try and speed things up for other kinds of cases. So we know that that the mandamus will probably be something that will be pretty popular as well when we have those ready. And they come in, cases come in a variety of flavors, and we have to it's going to require a lot of customization in terms of how have those drafting apps look. But we are, this is why it's, I guess, not a it's not a commercial, it's true, but we have a where it helps to have lawyers that are heavily involved in the development of the product, because we're sort of like pushing the developers and the technologists to, like, okay, you need to prioritize this, you need to prioritize that, because we need it for what we're doing. And if we need it, and we know, and we know the users need it because we need it on there. So that's mandamus and habeas and national interest exceptions, and there are others that have sort of become front and center in the new administration. It's not so new anymore, but that's something that I have been really kind of pushing to make sure that these things move as fast as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're always sort of the first on the case, and so always pushing our product team through that. I put in the corner here a QR code that's for the NIE drafting. We have if you want to see more details about the NIE drafting, you want to even see how it works, see the workflow in action. We've got some Loom videos available on our website over here. If I can find the QR code with my finger, you can look at those over there. I did want to ask Greg, with the habeas work that you've done, what inspired you to put those out there, to build those and put those out for free?
Well, I'd actually started hearing from friends who are lawyers in other practice areas that are actually, it was from some Minnesota lawyers that were telling me that they want to volunteer and start taking on the habeas cases. And in terms of looking, there are some decent resources that are out there that are put out by some of the nonprofits to help lawyers in drafting in the habeas space. But I knew that this is one probably to help lawyers really kind of, especially lawyers that are taking cases on a pro bono basis, which is what I had in mind largely with the habeas the habeas prompts that I put up there. But there's just a lot of good that can happen with high quality prompts in the habeas space, as well as a bunch of other spaces, to help lawyers that are not normally working in the space be able to do more and do more quickly. So it's ideally there would be enough immigration lawyers that are in the space to be able to do everything that's needed, but we know that's not the case. The other hand, we also have a lot of immigration lawyers who would like to be able to do more. I have also people complaining that they, the amount of time it's taking, they just don't feel like they can charge what is needed to be able to do that work. So it's either a money loser for them, or they're limiting how many they can take. And this might make it easier for lawyers to actually, that are in the immigration space, that are needing these tools, to be able to take these cases and do them at a price point that ensures that it doesn't de facto become pro bono for them or low bono. So there's just a lot of need, I think, out there. And obviously, we're talking about huge numbers of people that are being detained right now. I think I saw the number 70,000, which is probably about double I think what it was in 2024. I'm not sure about my numbers there, but I'm pretty sure it's substantially higher. And then we just saw this in the last couple of days, this Fifth Circuit decision that said that the ICE has been trying to take the position, and with the EOIR, that to try and forbid immigration judges from being able to bond people out. At least in Fifth Circuit states for a while, I think we're going to see detention numbers really rising fairly significantly. I think I put some bond stuff in as well in Prompt.law as far as some prompts that would help people that are preparing for bond hearings. But the need in this space is going to go up a lot. And unfortunately, I don't see the immigration bar being able to handle all of it. And hopefully we're going to see, hopefully we're playing a part in helping lawyers to be able to take more of this work on.
Yeah, I think that's always the goal for certainly on the visa law side, it's one of our goals is to just help elevate the profession and to improve the quality of life of an immigration lawyer, for sure. I did want to ask Greg, it sounds like you've been speaking with or have heard from lawyers in Minnesota. Are you hearing from what are you hearing from those lawyers in Minnesota? What is it like for them right now?
Well, I think first of all, the immigration bar there is one of the. I've spoken at the Twin Cities, the Minnesota Dakotas chapter of the American Immigration Lawyers Association. I've spoken a couple of times at their conferences. I think it is one of the brightest groups of immigration lawyers, concentration-wise, that I've seen in any chapter. That's not to disparage any other chapters, but there are a lot of very, very smart lawyers in Minnesota, and we've seen a lot of really good. I've heard from a number of lawyers that are, first of all, they're taking on a lot of this work, but also they have been. They've been doing a good job as well in terms of getting the message to the rest of the country of what they're seeing, but it's I don't know that it's that different than necessarily what we've heard from the lawyers in Chicago and lawyers in Portland and other places, but it's been so fast that it's happening there that it's I think the bar up there has been overwhelmed, not surprisingly. And it's not just sort of the stuff that you see on the news, smashing somebody's window, but it's like businesses all over the Twin Cities have seen ICE in coming into the business. I think I saw something where I thought the figure was 1,000 I-9 audits that they've hit at Minneapolis employers with. There's a lot that's going on, and I think the lawyers up there feel fairly overwhelmed. I'm hopeful. I think they said this week that they were taking 700 ICE officers out of the Twin Cities. I'm hopeful that we'll start to see this wind down, and so that they can kind of get back to normal. But it is I've also heard from friends who have been they've been observers, or they have family members that are observers for what's going on, and they have had to they're doing a lot more than just legal work. They're doing actually playing roles as members of their community to try and be witnesses for what's happening. So my hat's off to the Minneapolis Immigration Bar and the legal community in general that's been stepping up to help the Immigration Bar address it. And then the other thing is that a lot of the people in that are picked up in Minnesota end up being immediately transported down. Mostly, it seems like, to Texas. And I've talked to friends that are Texas lawyers, like Ruby Powers, who we had on the last call, told me that she's hearing a lot from Minneapolis lawyers and assisting them with the detention issues that come up once these people are in Texas. So it's a good thing that the Immigration Bar is super close knit nationally, that they can basically, lawyers in Texas know, the Minneapolis lawyers know who the lawyers are in Texas that they need to reach out to. We have, at our firm, we have our relationships, and our detention center ends up in Louisiana. We have our Louisiana lawyers that we reach out to, and it seems like that level of collegiality and camaraderie is really important, and that's we've certainly seen evidence of that.
Absolutely. And so with and just one more time on the habeas items, what can you go through the 11 that you have posted and show us just what what
Yeah.
they are specifically?
All right, let me put them back up. So there were 11 of them. So one, and they're not necessarily in the order showing here that I had designed them, but I'll show you what they are anyway. Detention timeline and delay attribution builder, immigration detention declaration, an evidence builder basically to generate sworn declarations and supporting evidence summaries for habeas cases, a bond hearing record and error analyze, so that basically you take the transcript and take the decision from a bond hearing and the transcripts, and the AI will help you figure out where errors were made that might help you with habeas relief. I have on here, I told you, the government opposition pattern analyzer and reply builder. This one is for pro bono organizations that are doing intake. Remember, I was telling you I was hearing from some of those, but basically, this one is it helps with intake, and then it helps to match it up with pro bono counsel that might be available to that to that nonprofit, and it also can look and say basically, based on this will require something with someone with a lot more experience, and it's more complex than a normal case. So you might, it's basically figuring out how to triage these cases at nonprofits. A habeas eligibility and remedy assessment. I think that's the one I showed you before. A quality control and senior review tool. This is again for people that are reviewing these cases to figure out whether, if you're playing a supervising role and somebody else is working on this stuff, this will help you spot things that can be improved. This one is to help people sort of navigate through the local filing procedures for a habeas case. This one, immigration detention, habeas legal theory. This is just basically brainstorming a prompt to help you figure out what will work. This one, immigration detention, medical, mental health, and vulnerability issue spotter, is designed to help people assess those types of factors in these cases. And then the last one is this emergency habeas and temporary restraining order readiness assessment, to help you also figure out whether you are, the case is appropriate for asking for that kind of relief. So some of these, you could probably, there's a little overlap on a few of them, but in general, these should hopefully be, for a lot of these cases, tools that'll be useful for lawyers that are working on these. And they're all very, like I said, they all kind of follow this format that I like to use in these for prompts in these cases, in terms of suggesting uploads, what kinds of clarifying questions to ask, the guardrail language to try and improve the answer quality, kind of a detailed assignment at the beginning. And the way I tell people to sort of think about it sometimes is, if you were working with a junior associate that was super smart, but is still fairly junior, and you were trying to basically come up with you were delegating to them the particular tasks that you have in there, what would the instructions be like for what you'd be, how you'd be asking that lawyer to approach this, as opposed to just say, give them the title essentially and say, I want you to do this. I want you to do an assessment of, or come up with the arguments or whatever. But that might get you an okay answer, but the more information you give when you're making the assignment, the better answer quality you're going to get. It's kind of the same approach with with these prompts.
Yeah, absolutely, Greg. I think those are it's always a good thing to remind people is AI is very much sort of what you put into it, which is why the prompts are so detailed as well, and why it can take a while to do these. Did these take you a while to make?
They did, although I will tell you that I the AI itself can be really helpful in terms of helping you work through what you want to see in a good prompt on there. So you should lean in and use the AI to help you sometimes in drafting up a really good prompt for what you're trying to do on there. And what I will sometimes do is I will, I'll work on one of these and I'll go back and forth with the AI to come up with the prompt. And then I will send the prompt over. I may do that where it's helping me in ChatGPT, and I'll take that prompt at the end, and I'll ask Claude to criticize the prompt, or I'll ask Gemini to criticize the prompt and how they would make it better. Sometimes what I'll do is I will design a prompt in one system, and I will ask for the other system to design a hypothetical, and then I'll ask a third system to grade the output for me, so that I can kind of have different the perspectives of different tools to be able to figure out if it's a prompt that's going to be helpful or not.
Yeah, and so if you don't mind, Greg, I've taken the Federal Immigration Habeas Procedure and Filing Navigator, and we're sort of going on the fly here, but I'm kind of interested. I'm going to pull up and make sure that I don't make us go into sort of a matrix like I just did. I'm gonna try to pull up Visa Law AI and go through some of that prompt. Does that sound good?
Yeah, the only thing is I don't have the supporting documents that really are going to make that prompt work the way it
Well, I
needs
think
to.
we can go through just sort of the superficial stuff and just show people how this sort of, I think the flow is helpful to see as well. So let me get the right thing shared. So let me stop sharing that. And sharing screens is always so complicated, even though I've been doing this for I don't know, 6-7 years at this point. Let's see. So here we go. No, that's not the right one either. I'll get it here in a second. Let's see. Here we go.
I can probably do it as well if you need.
So you see the screen here?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you see, I've just copied and pasted this in. And so the first thing that it asks me is start giving.
Which tool are you using it in right now? In the research?
Yes.
You wouldn't do it. You wouldn't do it in research. What you would do is, hang on a second. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go in and upload in a second to. Hang on a second. Let me do on my screen. Hang on a second.
This is always fun to do things live like this.
Hold on. I wanted to share. Oh, I need to. Okay. Hang on. I'm going to add in share screen, and I'm going to add in. Hold on a second. Why is it not letting me add in that tab? Window, Chrome tab.
And while you do that, Greg, I'll go ahead. I'm going to put up.
Okay.
I'm going to put up a different QR code. And this is, if anybody wants the prompts from the habeas stuff sent directly to them, we'll do that after today. And we'll also send some show notes as well. So if you're interested in getting that sent directly to your inbox, you can download that and fill out that form for us.
Yeah. So if you go into the library, so the library is here on the tabs on the left. So the one that looks like a little book is library. And you go in there and there's 4 different libraries. This is your own documents. This is stuff from your law firm that you might have that are accessible to anybody else in your firm that has that's on your account. The law library, which we talk about a lot, and this is where we always have everything that's happened that day, and we can see that Jimena has already loaded up a bunch of new cases. And then we have the prompt library. The prompt library is where you would upload one of these prompts that I was just showing you, and you'll see that it looks fairly similar. Not quite the same, but it's almost exactly the same as what I was showing you in Prompt.law before. So you would paste in that prompt under the content here, and then you would have it would show up in your library. Some of these are prompts that we make available for everybody, and some of them are prompts that are only available to you because it's your private prompt. I don't think I've put in any of those yet, but this is what it would look like if you were in there. And so then when you were, then you would go back to your dashboard, and you would go to document Q&A, and this is where you would upload the files, either upload them on the fly, or if you already had them in your personal library, you would upload them from there. And then you would choose you would choose from the prompt library whichever prompt that you were going to be using for the particular task. So, if you're using this ability to pay analysis tool, and you would upload the documents that are relevant to that, then you would basically be able to just run it from the documents that were uploaded, clicking on that, and then you would go to work on that. So it's fairly straightforward. I am happy to report that there's a new version coming for the product in core that's going to allow you to essentially run. It's going to be a lot simpler. It will be in your chat window. You'll be able to choose your prompt. If you can choose to use the law library to answer it, or you can choose to go out online. You can choose to upload documents, and it'll all be sort of one interface. A lot more similar to probably what people are used to seeing right now in ChatGPT. So that's I've already started seeing some of the testing on that, and it's going to be pretty cool. And that should be probably, I think, late next month, early April, I think, is when that's coming. But once that is available, this is going to be even more straightforward for people to do it the way that I've envisioned for a while. So it's coming on there. But in the meantime, you would use document Q&A to basically run the prompt that I was just showing people.
And would you do that for most of the prompts? Would they mostly go through document Q&A if you were using Visa Law AI?
Yeah, I mean, the tricky part right now is you either, with document Q&A, you're using the documents, and it can go out and pull stuff from the rest of the internet. What will be nice is if you are able to also pull documents from the actual whole massive library that we have, instead of just the documents that you are loading. And what we'd like is to be able to mix research documents with case-specific documents, and that's what's coming. That's going to make, I think, these prompts even more helpful for lawyers that are sort of looking to take on these particular kinds of tasks. And the other thing that we're going to be seeing in the near future is also library documents being able to be pulled into the drafting projects that we have as well. So that's all stuff that's coming over the next couple of months, and that's going to make all these tools work better. They work pretty well right now, but they will be even more useful once we have those capabilities.
Yeah, continued improvement. And well, hopefully people can take away from this. Again, you can go to Prompt.law, or you can scan the QR code, and we'll send those prompts and a link to Prompt.law to you directly with some show notes as well. And as we look ahead, we'll be back here in 2 weeks, Greg, with another Immigration Legal Tech Conversations. I don't know that we've got a topic for that yet, but we'll have something very interesting, I'm sure, within the next 2 weeks. But yeah, hopefully these processes, these things that you've designed, will allow people to lower some friction and improve some quality in their work, and make those things move faster as they need them, and as demand ramps for those things. But we're always welcome to feedback as well. I'm sure that you're always interested in getting some additional feedback on how the prompts are being used.
Sure.
So yeah, we definitely encourage people to try them out and test them out, and to let us know how that works. But I think that's pretty much everything we have for today. Greg, is there anything else that you want to mention as we sort of wind down here?
No. Well, there's one other thing, and if you go into Prompt.law, also something that I had been working on is this project of making prompts that are associated with the cookbook, the AILA cookbook that I co-write with my law partner Ari Sauer. And I think we finished. I mean, that if you search cookbook in Prompt, if you go into Prompt.law and you go into the browse, and you say cookbook, there are about 60 of these prompts that I have available now. And the goal is they're on U visas, and they're on R visas, and they're on TN visas, and a bunch of others. But if you are a Visa Law subscriber, all of the individual cookbook chapters are in the library. You can go into the library and copy anything that we have in there into your personal library, and then you can include the whole 100 to 200 page chapter for a cookbook subject to incorporate that as something that the prompt can see. And when you're in Prompt.law, just go into the search bar and pull up cookbook. And if you're a cookbook user, I think you're going to find that's super helpful to have, where those resources are available, and you can just basically run those prompts where that's the main source of information.
Yeah, that's a great tip. And that actually reminds me, in some other upcoming news, you're going to be in Atlanta on Friday at the Georgia-Alabama
Yeah. So
ALA conference.
if anybody's going to that conference, come say hello. And we're going to have a
hello.
booth there too for Visa Law. So
we will be there. So if you want to learn more about Visa Law, you can come visit the booth there in Atlanta. And you're going to be on an ethics panel, and I think we're going to be giving away a cookbook as well. So if you need a cookbook still, you can come visit the Visa Law AI booth. And if you haven't signed up for a demo, that's how you can get.
Hopefully, the people that are coming are driving, because it's a heavy lift, literally, for that book. It's like on there, it doesn't even easily fit into a suitcase anymore. But if we're in that situation where somebody wins that and they're flying home, we'll figure out a way.
Absolutely, we'll make it work. All right, Greg. Well, I appreciate you joining today, and everybody who left some good comments. We had some things here from people who, let's see, this is some from Ramina. Great insights. From my 20-year perspective as a sworn translator, the synergy between AI and human legal expertise is key to ensuring that nuanced legal terminology remains accurate during cross-border immigration processes. Precision is the best risk management. So thank you for that.
Good comment.
Good comment. Great comment. And that's pretty much it that we have all for today. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you, Greg, for joining us as well. And we will see you in 2 weeks.
Bye, everybody.